Hey guys, Robert here. I'm back for some more Phoenix Wright. Just let me turn down the game volume a little bit. Oh, never mind, it automatically brought it down. Good. Just make sure everything's going fine. Just this moment. Just 1 second. Hello, Ingrid. Just want to make sure everything was good to go. So, yeah, we got some more Phoenix Wright to be going over as we go into probably one of my favorite cases, Rise from the Ashes. Why is this my favorite? I'm sure you're probably wondering. Well, more than it's because this is of the original trilogy. This was written after the trilogy had wrapped up. So clearly, this is a case where the creators put so much of their best stuff into it. So much of their best writing. They learned so much, and it was good setup for the next for the Apollo Justice stuff. Ooh. Right here, you're going to tell that DS graphic stuff. Hey, Colin. Ooh. Now keep in mind, there are some characters in here that have not had any. Oh, it's been 2 months since Maya left the office. As I was saying, there has been this whole case never got an anime adaptation, so I'm gonna have to be winging it with some of the voices for and everything. 2 months without a single trial. I've had offers, but none I took. That is until the day that girl showed up. February 22nd, 10:02 a.m. Wright & Co. Law Offices. Why do I come here to the office every day? It's not like I want to work. And there you are! Finally! Where have you been? My sister's trial's tomorrow. Who are you? It doesn't matter who I am. It only matters who you are. The famous defense attorney, Mia Fey. Oh, you're not Mia Fey, are you? I'm sorry, but Miss Mia Fey no longer works here. So you are the copy boy? I'm Phoenix Wright, a defense attorney. Right. Oh, you're the Phoenix Wright! The Phoenix Wright from the Edgeworth murder case? Yeah, that's correct. It wasn't Edgeworth who was murdered, though. That's a relief then. You're better than nobody. I'm sorry. I'm afraid I'm not taking cases right now. But you are Phoenix Wright, right? Yeah. The undefeated defense attorney? Look, I'm not accepting any new cases. I'm sorry, but you have to try elsewhere. Please! I'm out of time. But please, you have to help. It's my sister. Huh? Maya, could it be? Okay, I'll hear you out. Really? Thank you so much. My name's Emma. Emma Sky. I'm a scientific investigator. Scientific investigator? Emma, was it? So you're a scientific investigator? Yes, that's right. Is something wrong? No, it's just you seem kind of jumpy. Or maybe just young? Young? I'll be 16 years old this year. Oh, I see. Wait! Only 16? I'm set to be formally assigned to forensics in 3 more years. Unfortunately, I know where that's gonna go. My work is becoming quite well known, at my age no less. So what exactly is your current position then? Well, legally speaking, I guess you call me an 11th grader, but I'm ready to do my job, at my age no less. Great. Another future professional in training. So, what's this about a case? You said the trial's tomorrow? My sister didn't do it! She wouldn't stab someone with a knife. She wouldn't. So, it's a murder case. I don't care if it's a murder, and if there's a witness who saw her do it. She didn't do it! I know she didn't do it. It's a scientific fact. And there's a witness. Just talk to her. You have to talk to her. Right. I suppose I will. I promised her I'd bring Mia Fey, but that's interesting. How would she know Mia? So, you want to be a scientific investigator when you grow up? By the way, I should point out one other thing I do like about the writing for this particular episode is that it's quite clear that this is written with after working on the other 2 games, but then they put a handicap on. There's a certain artifact we get in the second game that never existed in this game. And you can definitely tell the writers are going to go into this realizing, we got to work around that. After having 2 games of working with this device, they got to work around it. And it is going to be, if you know what I'm talking about, it is kind of obvious. And I applaud them for that. Oh. Yeah, I applaud them for that. Because, like I said, if you play the other 2 games in the series, it's kind of obvious. Excuse me? I'm not a child, I'll have you know. Still, it's good to have a goal, albeit a very unusual one. I believe investigation should be done scientifically. Don't you? Yeah. Sure can't fault her for a lack of enthusiasm. If this case is handled scientifically, I'm sure my sister's name will be cleared. Your sister. I've been doing research, you know. I'm developing a new scientific method of case investigation. I'll show you when I'm done. I'm looking forward to it. Guess I should get down to the detention center and talk to her sister. My sister asked for Mia specifically. This Mia Fey person was a few years below her in school. So they went to the same school, huh? She always told me to go to Mia if I ever needed a defense attorney. And well, I need one. Incidentally, Mia's a woman. Now that you mention it, I guess it is more of a woman's name than a man's. Well, it's nice of you to help your sister out like this. You must be close. Well, actually, when she gets like she is now, I kind of hate her. Huh? But she's my only family. Only family? What about your parents? They died in a car accident when I was little. Aww. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, well then let's head over to the detention center. I wonder what's wrong with Emma. She got quiet all of a sudden as soon as we arrived. Guard! I thought I told you I don't want visitors! Sorry, ma'am. It's just your sister. No excuses! Or did you not want a raise this year, Understood, ma'am. What was that all about? Hi, Alana. Funny. I seem to remember specifically telling you not to come here. Perhaps my memory is failing. Look, I didn't want to come here either, okay? But your trial tomorrow and you still don't have a defense attorney. I'll be the one in court tomorrow. This has nothing to do with you, Emma. Isn't that right, Mr. Wright? Hey, how do you know me? Mia mentioned you. I've heard quite a bit. I'm sorry. What exactly is that and is it that you do? My name is Lana. Lana Sky. I'm chief prosecutor for this district. You're a prosecutor? And two sisters, one a lawyer. Could this be coincidence? Emma, Lana. I mean, they're just like... Is something wrong, Mr. Wright? And there's something you should know from the start. Which is? The suspect in this case has confessed to the crime. Huh? Well, wait, but the suspect is... me. I did it. Well, Mr. Wright? Well, why don't you begin by telling me exactly what happened? The crime took place yesterday, February 21st at 5:15 p.m. That's quite specific. It was in the witness's deposition. A witness clearly saw me committing the crime. That was a bit of bad luck, wasn't it? The crime takes place in the underground parking at the prosecutor's office. The body is found in the trunk of my subordinate's car. The prosecutor's office, huh? Your subordinate's car trunk? Classy. I was arrested on the spot, caught red-handed as it were. Oh, that's just great. So, who was the victim? An investigator with the police department. I suppose the correct term is detective. A detective? Death was due to a loss of blood. He was stabbed once in the stomach. By you? Death wasn't immediate, but the wound was fatal. I see. Allow me to repeat myself, Mr. Wright. The victim was a detective. You know what that means, don't you? Uh-oh. What? Mr. Wright, what does it mean? Well, it means the police department will consider it a matter of pride to have me found guilty. They will use any means at their disposal to do so. This case gets worse and worse with everything I learn. So, you're the chief prosecutor. That is correct. I'm responsible for overseeing every trial handled by prosecutors in this district. I make sure the prosecutors have what they need to do the job and manage every aspect. Those are my responsibilities, in a nutshell. That's an awful large nutshell. Still, I'm a little surprised. I would think you'd recognize the district's chief prosecutor, Mr. Wright. Huh? In fact, it seems impossible you wouldn't. Lana, what happened to your hand? Oh, this? I cut myself by accident. When I stabbed him, that is. Huh? I'm not very good at being a criminal, I suppose. How am I supposed to defend this? Time to change the subject. Wait, she was in the class ahead of Mia, wasn't she? You were in school with Mia, correct? A few years above her? Emma told you that, didn't she? Well, why not? I did drag him all the way here from his office. Although it seems he has very little in common with Mia. Hey! It was in law school. I was in my third year and she was auditing the class. She was different than the other students. Different? She was strong. She'd do anything to become a defense attorney. Anything. That was probably why she was attracted to me. Excuse me? Intellectually attracted. Lana was top of her class in school. I was the best there was. Oh. I'm doing pretty good in school too, by the way. It sounds a bit different when Emma says it. Well, Mr. Wright? Excuse me? As you can plainly see, I am admitting my guilt. I think it's safe to say there's no way you can take this case. None. But Lana! Why are you doing this to me? You never think of anyone but yourself! Huh? I know you didn't do it, Lana. I know! So how can you say you did? If I lose you, I'll be all alone. I hate you, Lana! Mr. Wright. Yes? I believe our discussion here is ended. The rest, I leave to you. You mean you're requesting my services as your defense? Don't lose any sleep over it. Your client has confessed after all. The case is over. Right. I'll do what I can to get to the bottom of this. Lana's confessed to the crime, yes? But something doesn't fit. It's that look in Emma's eyes. There's something else going on here. And I'm gonna find out what. I'm sorry, Mr. Wright. Huh? About what? My sister, she's... And not always like that, you know. Just 1 second. Sorry about that. One of my other computers crashed. Hate when that happens. I just never expected to be defending another prosecutor again. She's changed a lot. She used to be so gentle, always smiling. Everybody liked her. I see. Sorry, but I'm having trouble imagining that. What happened to her? I don't know for certain myself. I think maybe she... Well, maybe not. Sounds like there's something there that defies a simple scientific explanation. Let's go check out this underground parking at the prosecutor's office, shall we? Okay! So this is the lot where it all happened. It looks like they're still investigating. Funny that my first visit to the prosecutor's office should be like this. Hey, everyone, keep up the good work. Hey, what are you thinking? Well, they aren't going to be my co-workers 3 years from now, after all. No harm in saying hello. Actually, there is. You know, attorneys aren't supposed to examine crime scenes. I'm trying to not stand out too much. Here, see? And hey there, you're expecting to go unnoticed. You're expecting to go unnoticed here, partner. Partner. What do we have here? Looks like a bambina got loose from the ranch and is up to no good. Folks gotta learn to keep quiet and keep them doggies tied down, partner. Mr. Marshall. Marshall? Looks more like a sheriff to me. Looky here, Bambina. I know how you feel. But this is my gang's gold strike. See? Strike? This is our claim, our territory, with a mother load of evidence. If you're fixing to mess with what's ours, you'll regret it, partner. You know what dreams the cacti out in the desert dream? You want to? What's this guy talking about? You head along home now. Happy trails, Bambina. Was that a hombre, a friend of yours? Kinda, sorta. Yeah, he's a detective. Who thinks he's a sheriff from the Wild West, it seems. First things first. Aha! A ladder! That's a step ladder. What's the difference? In scientific terms, please. It's a scientific, huh? Look at the basic nature of things, Mr. Wright. It all seems so horribly familiar somehow. Ah! What's this? Wallet? Excuse me, officer? But wait! What are you doing, Mr. Wright? What am I doing? I just found this wallet, so I'm handing it over to the police. I don't believe it. This is really basic. Anything at a crime scene is evidence. Let's be scientific about this, please. Just put it in your pocket. How is that scientific? Sounds like stuff to me. I'm called to duty already, and at my tender age. Here, I'll teach you the trick to examine evidence in detail, okay? By the way her eyes are sparkly, I could tell she's been waiting for this. Again, because this was, those of you who don't know, this was done when they brought the series to the Nintendo DS. Now, the original trilogy was all on GBA. So eventually the Apollo trilogy would be on DS. So this is the only game in the entire original trilogy that's going to use elements that would be utilized in the DS. Okay now, look at the court record. You have to be sure to examine evidence carefully on all sides. Now let's start examining from every angle. Oh look, I said there might be a clue here. You should check it out with a press of enter. This this is an ID card. Sergeant Bruce Goodman, ID number 5842189. And see? Well, isn't scientific investigation useful? I guess, though I don't see what science has to do with it. Let's be sure to examine every piece of evidence we find. Guess I've got to be on my toes from now on. Well, no time to waste. Let's get hunting for clues. I wonder what this is. Well, partner, looks like you have no intention of going home quietly. Hey! The sheriff! Like I said before, this here's our claim. You'd best be moseying along, unless you're fixing to bite the bullet. Yeah, it's scary. Could you tell us one thing? Who owns that car? Well, the little filly's got a good nose on her. You want to know who rides that red Mustang with the body in her saddle, eh? Please? No problem, partner. About time for vitals anyway. Get yourself to the saloon up at the 12th floor on the prospector's office. Might just find you a Curvessa you like. Prospector's office? Where does this guy think he is? And when, for that matter? Note this out. Look up Vitals Saloon Curvessa. Maybe we should check out room 1202, the High Prosecutor's office. In any case, stay away from that car. You can look around here all you like, just keep your paws off our claim. Right. Great. Maybe there's some clues around here, Mr. Wright. Let's check it out. Excuse me. Were you two all set? Us? What's this? She couldn't be. You're selling lunches? Here? This is a crime scene. Hello. F and F, was it? Oh, thanks. And you, sir? Yes? Some crunchy goodness coming at you. Thanks. Interesting way of... a way of doing business. Hello, Rand Constantine. Nice to meet you. Or have you been here before? This area is off limits to anyone without clearance, especially passerby or you officers. No, but you don't exactly look like the type to have clearance. Well, that's hardly a way to greet someone, even if my days as the cough-up queen are over. Cough-up? Huh? You know, I'm feeling kind of full. Maybe I'll pass on lunch. I'm quite connected to this case, you'll see. The images are burned into my eyes, you might say. Yes, all the sordid secrets. Secrets? Dear me, you are a slow one, aren't you? I'm referring to the murder, the stabbing of that detective. What? A witness clearly saw me committing the crime. You mean you're the witness my sister was talking about? And please, cough-up queen, tell us what happened. The name is Angel Star. Don't you forget it. Or before you know it, I'll have you whimpering at my heels. Yes, ma'am. Yikes, she means it. A defense attorney must be able to fight. How about you? Do you think you can win? How about tackling Lunchland's Pickle Supreme Lunchbox? Wow, that's really crunchy. A box of pickles. Kind of a sound lunch if you ask me. Somehow, I knew. Yesterday was a day of destiny. I knew something was going to happen. Just like I know that the daily special on Friday every week is salmon. Destiny? Was yesterday special for some reason? You're a defense attorney, right? You should know then. You should know the foul misdeeds of the evil ones who haunt this den of inequity. Evil ones? Prosecutors, they have no qualms at all about blackening the names of innocents. And yesterday they paid homage to the most evil one of all. They gave an award for King of Prosecutors. What a farce! So she's saying there was some kind of prosecutors convention yesterday? I was almost compelled to lace their lunches with something foul. Do you have a personal grievance against prosecutors or something? Or is there some kind of scientific evidence of this, evil? Young miss, mock me at your own risk. You'll soon find why they called me the cough-up queen. Ew! The most heinous of all, the evil ones, the one they awarded yesterday. It was in his car that they found the body. Proof that he devours the evilest lunches of all. Really? Really what? I'm totally confused. One thing's clear, this lunch lady has a thing against prosecutors. So what exactly was it that you witnessed, Miss Star? It was a fascinating spectacle, to be sure. I now feel I know what they say when they talk about a woman's wrath. To see Lana Sky wield that knife so. Her knife flashed in anger, bringing him to a sad end. It was truly a sight to see. You mean you saw the very moment of the crime? The sound of his silvery ties to this world being cruelly cut still rings in my ears, and the rhythmic beat of Lana Sky's knife. Wait a second, you know Lana Sky? Of course, it's quite a feat, becoming chief prosecutor. How many lunchboxes of sin did she pack to make that journey, I wonder? She always travels light. Now, why would this pretty lunch lady know the chief prosecutor's name? Could we ask you a bit about yourself, Miss Star? I come here every day to sell lunches. I import only the freshest and best from the Far East. For some reason, the box lunches are a hit here. Why not make the lunches here rather than import them? Did you say something? No. Only true connoisseurs can understand. The kind you can only tell someone who has tried General Sal's Trilobite lunch set. Never mind. You win. I don't even want to appreciate part of a Trilobite's flavor. Anyway, I come here every day to sell lunches. My boyfriend works in the security room here at the prosecutor's office. Your boyfriend? See the security room over there? The glass-walled booth? I sell my lunches, and since I'm here anyway, I drop in to see him. Since you're here anyway, I guess selling lunches is more important than romance. So, to scientifically analyze the data available so far, you, Miss Star, are a lunch better with an ulterior motive for coming here. Useful analysis. Not. Did you have a bad experience with a prosecutor, Miss Star? I sense some hostility. And hostility? Ha! Perhaps. The prosecutors are all alike. And the bigger they get, the worse they smell. Kind of like 10-day-old clams in the chowder. I wonder if Miss Star was involved in some sort of legal trouble in the past. And that'd be a sure cause of food poisoning, scientifically speaking, of course. I mean, now you're talking, cough-up queen. Thought she was just a lunch vendor. Now I'm not so sure. Alright, well then let's head to the High Prosecutor's office. This is the kind of room that just screams, I can do the job. Quite a change from your office, really. Thanks. And look, there's a trophy of something over here. Trophy? What, that shield? It takes real nerve to display stuff like this. Whoever's office is this, they must be a real stuck-up jerk. Phoenix Wright. You never tire of prying into other people's business, do you? That voice. Edgeworth! Long time no see, Edgeworth. Huh? Ah! Mr. Edgeworth! You know him from somewhere? Of course! I'm his biggest fan! My sister introduced us once and... Right. Her sister is the chief prosecutor, after all. Well, what brings you here? I'll warn you. I've been known to be a real stuck-up jerk. No! Did I? No! It was just Mr. Wright here. Hey! Don't blame me! We're just here to investigate a murder case. Murder? A body was found in this nasty bright red sports car in the parking lot. That would be my car. What of it? What? Your car? I'll say one thing, she certainly can scream. Wow, this jacket is even lacier than his usual one. This must be his lucky trial jacket. Lucky jacket, right. I've never seen him wear it. I'm sure there's a story behind why it's in a frame. Maybe I'll be naughty and take a picture. He's getting way too excited about this. My, what an amazing bouquet. Just right for Mr. Edgeworth. No kidding. Hey, there's a card on it. Back from the dead. Wendy. Wendy? I've heard that name somewhere before. And beside it, a giant evil samurai statue. Wow, I want one! Huh? There's something written on the bottom of his foot. Between a rock and a hard place. Wendy. Wendy, is she Mr. Edgeworth's fiancée? No! I don't think so. Hey, a chessboard. I'm not up on my chest. It looks like blue's in a bit of a tight spot. The red knights have surrounded the blue pawn. Huh? Those horses are mounted knights. Their swords have real sharp edges. And check out that poor pawn. His head is kind of spiky. Kind of reminds me of you. Mr. Edgeworth must be an avid chess player. What's wrong, Mr. Wright? Edges surrounding a pawn with spiky hair. Nah, it's nothing. I've been wondering, what the heck is this? It has a big K on it. The prosecutors. Huh? What's that? It's the King of Prosecutors trophy. King of Prosecutors? It's a great honor. They send their shield to the best prosecutor each year. What? So? Yeah, that's true. Yep, so that K stands for king. Yeah, and yeah, you got a problem with that? I didn't design this thing. King of Prosecutors, kind of like Employee of the Month, only better. Okay, so let's talk with... Wait a minute. Oh, cute! What a pretty tea set! I've got no more for the instant... I go more for the instant tea bag myself. Amazing! The drawers below is filled with packets of tea leaves. They're all sorts and sorted by place of origin and flavor. Look at this royal blend! What an exquisitely splendid concoction! And there's such a thing as taking a hobby too far. But I know what you mean, though, Ingrid. I mean, especially, that didn't come about until the second game of the Apollo trilogy. So, the body was found in your car? Go ahead, say it right. You think I did it, don't you? After you went through all the trouble to help me last year, no less. No, we don't think you did it. I mean, it was my sister who stabbed him. Wait, no. She didn't do that. I mean... Wait. So you're the chief prosecutor's little sister, then? Yes, sir. Emma Sky. It's nice to meet you again. Now that didn't sound forced at all. Now I remember. You've really grown. I'll admit, it was a surprise for me too. To think that my own car would become the scene of a murder. More surprising still, I'm being forced to prove my superior's guilt. I can understand. Wait, what did you say? Anna Sky is the chief prosecutor, the top prosecutor in the district. She can't prosecute herself, so I'll be the prosecutor at her trial tomorrow. You, Mr. Edgeworth? To be honest, it's a bit of a miracle I'm still here at all. What do you mean? Rumors. You've heard the rumors about me, haven't you? Miles Edgeworth. It's hard to remember a time when there weren't rumors about this guy. Now, I gotta say, I'm not sure how I feel about them retconning that he actually never really did falsify information. Because that was something they really play up on it until now. Feels like here they're trying to retcon it because they realize, okay, we want Edgeworth to still be a good guy, and it kind of shoots ourselves in the foot by maybe he did forge evidence. I mean, I get that, and I'm kind of grateful for it, but at the same time, it does feel it's a retcon. It is a retcon. Let us call it a spade a spade. It's a retcon. Forging evidence, arranging false testimony, illegal searches, you name it. Thanks to you, my innocence was established in the trial at the end of last year. However, there are some who say I'm the one responsible for the current incident. What? That's crazy! Some people need very little excuse to think ill of others. It's a fact of life, impossible to stop. But some of them even go so far as to present me with toys like this. They think it's funny. Toys? That bronze shield? It's gotta be, we already know that. Chief Prosecutor Sky. Yes, we first worked together on a case 2 years ago. It was my first big case. That's right, I remember. 2 years ago. I wasn't even a lawyer yet. Since then, I've always felt that she was looking out for me. It appears I was mistaken. Mistaken? Why? I mean, I know she's not the warmest person, but I'm sure she felt some responsibility for you. Then, why? Why did she stab someone in the trunk of my car? Not only that, she stabbed him with my knife. What? Mr. Edgeworth, your knife was the murder weapon? To be specific, it was the knife I keep in the toolbox in the trunk of my car. Yep. Edgeworth? What? Are you sure you didn't do it? Come on, can't he take a joke? You have a strange sense of humor, Mr. Wright! So basically this says you were the best of the best last year, huh? You could take that foolish grin elsewhere, right? I lost a day of work to save that travesty. Huh? Why's that? I had to go to the police department to receive that broken shield. The police department? Yes, right next to the police station downtown. You've been there, haven't you? Where Detective Gumshoe works. Yeah. I was wondering something about your shield. Why is it broken? What does it matter? I've got more important things to worry about. Oh, right. He doesn't seem too concerned about his award for better or for worse. Yesterday was a very busy day for the prosecutor's office. Maybe we should ask him more about yesterday. Did you tell me more about yesterday? The day of the murder? Yes. Well, yesterday was the annual cleaning day at the prosecutor's office. Cleaning day? Working with the police department, we sort and file all evidence from solved cases. We call it evidence transfer. Wiping your hands of all cases, in other words. Oh, and another thing. A ceremony was held at the police department. There's an annual review and awards for outstanding police officers and prosecutors. And that's when you got the shield. The shield? I was at the police department yesterday afternoon. I got back here at 5:15 and 5:12. That's very precise. People like myself and Mr. Edwards pride ourselves on our precision, Mr. Wright. No, I place little faith in my memory. The only thing I trust is solid evidence. This is the parking stop from the underground lot. Murder took place around 5:15. So the murder happened right after you got back. What? And what, Wright? I'd appreciate it if you direct that suspicious glare elsewhere. Excuse me, but is Mr. Edwards, anywhere on the premise? I'm Edgeworth. What is it? I'm here, sir, at the request of the chief, sir. I got your report, sir. Report? What? Did you find any new evidence in the case against Chief or Prosecutor Sky? I don't like the way this conversation is going at all. Sky, sir? No, sir. No name of that kind, sir. Not in this report, sir. I think I just heard Edgeworth's lid blow. Mr. Edgeworth's lid is on very tight, is it? I made a clear request to the police department. Did I not? I need to focus on the trial tomorrow, so don't bring me anything unrelated. Sir, but sir, I'm just following orders, sir. They told me to bring this to you. I wasn't aware of the particulars of your arrangement with us, sir. Give me your name. Yes, sir. Menkins, sir. Officer Menkins. Right. Officer Menkins. Take your report and leave. And good luck with that raise next month. But sir, I didn't know. Poor guy. Looks like he was absent the day they gave out brains. And good luck. Just a sec. Right? Yes, sir! Guy caught me off guard! As you can see, I'm busy. You may leave now. Let's do what he says, Mr. Wright. The victim was a detective from the same department as the patrolman just now. Go down to the police department. You can ask more there. Thanks! He seems to have finally calmed down at least. Phew! We're finally here. Why would they put the police department so far away from the prosecutor's office? Beats me, that took almost 30 minutes by taxi, and traffic wasn't even that bad. The police department, huh? I've only ever been to criminal affair next door. Huh? Hold on! What's that? Disturbing. Why does it undulate like that? Oh, wait, I know. This is the Blue Badger. They're trying to make him the police mascot. Well, Mr. Wright, you should know a lot about the police. Still, he does seem familiar somehow. And forget the Blue Badger. Who's that next to him? Someone appears to be dancing with the Blue Badger. Uh-oh, he's noticed me. He sure is running over here fast. Hey, pal! What are you doing here? That's my line, Detective Gumshoe. Specifically, why were you dancing over there? What? Well, at least he doesn't seem to be busy. Just our chance to get information. Hey, I'll have you know I'm a very busy man, pal! Hey, that's it! That's the King of Prosecutors Award that Mr. Edwards got yesterday! Were you at the award ceremony, Detective Gumshoe? Of course, pal! I got an award for diligence myself! Ah, congratulations. I was wondering, why is the award a shield? And why is it broken? Oh, there's a reason. I'll tell you what it is later. Apparently he's forgotten. But I was proud of Mr. Edgeworth for winning that award, even with all that the naysayers in the prosecutor's office. Naysayers must be because of the rumors. Huh? Found in Mr. Edwards' car, stabbed with Mr. Edwards' knife, huh? What would drive Chief Prosecutor Sky to do such a thing? Wait, I didn't mean, sure, of course someone else really did it. Someone who must have a grudge against Mr. Edgeworth. The car and the knife do seem a little too well organized to be a coincidence. Poor Mr. Edgeworth, what could have happened? We have to find a little more about what's going on with Edgeworth. Detective Gumshoe, what can you tell me about this? Huh? Hey, pal, this is a detective's ID card. You can't just keep that. You have to turn it in to the police. It's people like you that get me into so much trouble all the time. Meaning Detective Gumshoe must drop his card a lot. Let's see. Bruce Goodman. Goodman? Sounds familiar. Nah, my mistake. But didn't you work together with him in criminal affairs? Whoa, now I remember. Bruce Goodman. He's the victim. That's what I thought. Can you tell us more, Detective Gumshoe? I'll give you one word of advice, pal. You better not agree to defend the suspect in this case. Why not? Huh? Well, it's just that the chief prosecutor has confessed to the crime. She says she summoned a detective to the prosecutor's office and she killed him. But what if she's not telling the truth? Yes, well, no. Come on, pal, there's plenty of evidence against her. But what if the evidence was faked? Hey, pal, can I speak to you for a second? Huh? Me? Why is this little girl so peeved at me? She's a relative of the suspect. She's Lana Sky's sister. Whoa! The chief prosecutor's little sister? Just please investigate this case carefully, okay? Scientifically. Yes, sir! Oh, by the way, you might want to keep your voice down. You don't want to be overheard using words like faked. Huh? It's a sensitive issue with us these days. So, what are you doing here, Detective Gumshoe? Hey, Tavia. Me? Oh, well, nothing really. They kicked me out of criminal affairs. Detective Gumshoe, what did you do this time? What do you mean this time? Then what happened? I know things are busy right now. I mean, with my sister's case and all. It's true. We've never had a chief prosecutor murder anyone before. Only the highest ranked people are being led into criminal affairs now. The lowest ranking guy in there is our chief of detectives. They're not letting any of us rank and file detectives in at all. None of you? I know this is an important trial, but isn't that a little odd? So anyway, I thought I'd spend the day getting the Badger dance down pat. Isn't there anything else you could be doing? The chief of police himself has directed his investigation, pal. And Officer Marshall was assigned to the underground parking lot. Officer Marshall? Now that I think about it, Emma did seem to know that Marshall guy. The patrolman in charge of the crime scene. It's unheard of, pal! So, this ID card belonged to the victim. He was a detective, like myself. Detective Bruce Goodman. Don't you think it's strange? I mean, why would the victim's ID be laying on the ground where we found it? Well, Detective Goodman should have been at the police department yesterday. There was an evidence transferal for a case he handled 2 years ago. Evidence transferal? Mr. Edgeworth mentioned that too. But Detective Goodman was killed at the prosecutor's office. Well, that's the thing. It's hard to say this, but word is that Chief Prosecutor Sky called him out there to the parking lot. And Lana's confessing as much. He's in a tough spot. Again. Again? Well, it all started with the murder of the defense attorney, Hammond. But Mr. Edgeworth was found innocent. Listen, pal, there have always been rumors about Mr. Edgeworth. Forging evidence, making deals with witnesses. Nothing outright, but there were always whispered rumors. Ever since he was accused of murder, no one's whispering. They're practically shouting. But there's no evidence against him. Well, Mr. Edgeworth has always had unusually strong ties to department higher-ups. It's only natural that people would be suspicious. I had no idea he was under the gun. Anyway, this latest case has started a new rumor. People say the only reason he took this case is because he's aiming for the chief prosecutor position himself. What? But I know the truth, pal. Nobody wants to be the one who has to prosecute the chief prosecutor. Mr. Edgeworth is biting the bullet on this one. He's doing this for all of us. I was wondering about that. What? The Dancing Blue Badger? It's my masterpiece. You made it, Detective Gumshoe? The chief threw together some designs and I just did my thing, pal. Nice work. It's battery powered, so it can go anywhere. There's no switch, so it just dances until the battery dies. Poor Blue Badger, fated to dance until he drops. And that's all I know about that. I'm not officially on the case, you know. Thank you. Why aren't you handling the case, Detective Gumshoe? We met the guy who is, what is his name? The guy in the parking lot? That'd be Officer Marshall. He was appointed directly by the chief of police. Officer Marshall. Is he some kind of Wild West sheriff or something? No, Jake Marshall's just a regular officer from West LA. For a moment there, I wasn't sure. Look, pal, let me try to make things a little easier for you. Show them this, and they'll let you examine the crime scene. Baby. I'll be surprised if this gets us anywhere. Just act like you're supposed to be there, and nobody will look at you twice, pal. Looks like the investigation's still going on. So I have to be getting to the shop. Sorry, looks like I'll be stuck in this pit till the sun sleeps. I'll see you in my dreams tonight then, baby. Oh, I was like, baby. Oh, still here. Hello. Why the surprise looks? Didn't I mention? I've got a boyfriend in criminal affairs too. What happened to the security guard? Hey, what's wrong, Bambina? You're looking like a doggy that's lost his herd. Jake Marshall. Strange guy to be put in charge of a crime scene. Would you mind reading this for me? What's this? I warn you, fan letters to me go right to the spittoon. It's a letter of introduction from Detective Gumshoe. May we investigate? Gumshoe? Ah, that old cow dog. He holding a birthday party or something? Huh? Look, where it should say letter of introduction, it says invitation. Ah, I think he just miswrote it. Wait, why am I getting all defensive here? No worries. This proves it's from Detective Gumshoe. Better than a blood test. Guess I'll better let you in then. Thank you, Officer Marshall. Oh, that's right. He's a patrolman, not a detective. Which reminds me. Hey, wait a second. Isn't the crime scene supposed to be handled by a detective or higher? Well, folks, the clues are calling. Welcome to our gold strike. Be like the settlers. Strike out for lands unknown. Manifest destiny. Let's have a hoot daddy. Note this out. Police investigations are like settling land. I love that smile of hers. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you say? I say I won't be needing this anymore. Hold on, let me go get another drink. Back again. Officer Marshall, could you tell us more about the victim? Good men always die young. Remember that, partner. Could you be a little more specific? Bruce Goodman. He was a detective, right? Well, aren't you a feisty doggy there now? Now, Detective Goodman was stabbed here at 5:15. The smiling Madonna told me the tale. I think he means the witness, Miss Angel Starr. One stab through the chest. A fine piece of work. This here's the autopsy report. Was my sister involved with the victim in any way? Funny you should mention that, Bambina. The Chief Prosecutor Sky and Detective Goodman had nothing in common at all. Nothing in common? They apparently worked together on a case a few years back, so there's no motive. Goodman wasn't a particularly gifted detective. That's one reason why he didn't do much work with the Chief Prosecutor. But my sister called the victim here on the day of the murder, right? Here to this parking lot. So it seems. Like calling an unarmed man to a shootout at high noon. I don't mean any offense, but Officer Marshall, you're a patrolman, right? Not a detective? You call a May out, they shoot you for that in Texas. Ha! That's what Rain Constantine was talking about. Huh? I was one of them fancy shoe detectives till 2 years ago, to tell you the truth. Oh, really? Now he told me. But you're a patrolman now. How can you be in charge of a crime scene? Nothing gets by you, does it, Bambina? So why are you in charge? No reason. We're just short on hands right now. I'm keeping an eye out in the meantime. That's odd, though. Detective Gumshoe was saying he had nothing to do. Nothing important, at least. He's nothing but a sad old cow dog that can't find his tail. Maybe it's because he runs with that Edgeworth, eh? Edgeworth? That cow dog's been kicked out of this cattle run by orders of the chief of police. Just he don't realize it yet. Detective Gumshoe kicked out of the investigation? This looks like a cell phone. Scientific analysis would suggest that belongs to the victim. I can't think of anyone else it could belong to. What's so scientific about that? Should we check it out? Right. Let's check it out. Uh-oh. Whoops. Why do I keep doing that? This phone's still on the redial screen. Redial? Mr. Wright? Most phones keep a record of all the calls you made and received. You just press the blue button to display the last number you called. Convenient, isn't it? I'm surprised you didn't know about it. Sorry to disappoint you, but even I know about the things like redial. Huh? Oh, I'm sorry. It's just that you never know with people from your generation. Whatever. Let's check this phone out. Now, to see who the owner on this phone called last. Note to self, the defense attorney doesn't think first, he just pushes the button. Hey, that song! Hey, that song! I know that! Hey, what's going on over there? Sorry. I see you, partner. You pressed redial on that their phone, didn't you? Well, yeah. Whose phone is this anyway? It was on the ground over there. Whose is it? That belongs to the Chief Prosecutor Sky. What? It's my sister's? She apparently dropped it when she was taken into custody, right after the crime. And look, the last call was made right when the murder occurred. Looks like she was fixing to call someone. Except she only spoke for a few seconds, according to this. Who did she call? No idea. Sorry, partner. Now I got a question for you, partners. I heard a phone ring just now. One of those newfangled ringtones. Oh, that. Oh! I'm sorry, that was my phone. What? Your phone? Yeah, it's kind of strange, but someone called me right as we picked up the other phone. A wrong number. I hope you're not lying. They shoot you in Texas for that, and you for that in Texas, partner. Uh-oh, I've incited the wrath of the Lone Star Patrolmen. So, there's no connection between Detective Goodman and my sister? That's correct, but there's a gold mine of evidence against her. And the prospector tomorrow is none other than Edwards himself. I'm afraid your sister's fate is decided, Bambina. Many condolences. Officer Marshall? Yeah, Bambina? How can you say that? You and my sister, you were... There's something between this cop and her sister that I don't know about. I apologize, Bambina. Something must have gotten to me. Maybe it's that dry wind that's a-blowing through the prospector's office. Dry wind or ill wind, someone's up to something here. But who? Suspicions about Mr. Edwards have been flying around for nearly 2 years now. Forged evidence and arranging testimony. forged evidence and arranging testimony, you mean? He was unbeatable because he did whatever it took to win. Unbeatable, that is, until he met you. But rumors are just rumors, aren't they? These are prosecutors we're talking about. Evidence is everything to them. If you follow the rumors about Edward to their source, you find one person. But they're off limit. Untouchable, you might say. One person? Who? Hate to say this, but it's your sister, Bambina. Chief Prospector Lana Sky. What? My sister? Edwards couldn't rustle all those cattle by himself. Some people loaded their guns with bullets. Some people loaded them with deals. What are you saying? I mean, Edwards was making deals to win trials? Where there's gunshots, there's bound to be bullets. That's what the old-timers say. There's a big old secret hidden around here somewhere. Everyone knows it. Is that why Detective Gumshoe was taken off the case? They targeted him because he was closest to Edgeworth? What's this? Looks like a note of some sort. Look, something's written on it. 675-12-2. Let's see. 67S 12-2. There's a name printed on the paper above that. Goodman. Maybe it fell out of his pocket when he was killed. Well, so what does it mean, Mr. Wright? How am I supposed to know? Note to self, for deductive reasoning, go to Edgeworth, not Wright. I'm sure Edgeworth wouldn't know what this means either. So, well, how are we doing, Mr. Wright? I guess we've got some clues. We have an upset report, a note from the victim, and a cell phone. So you think we'll be okay? Well, the only thing that still bothers me is that Lana's confessing to the crime. She says she did it. No problem. I can guarantee you that she's not the criminal. Oh, by the way, Emma. Yes? I know that song your phone plays when it rings. What? It's the Steel Samurai theme song, isn't it? That popular TV show for kids. The phone that rang earlier wasn't mine. It was yours. At 5:18, just after the murder took place. Your sister called you, didn't she, Emma? I'm sorry. Can you tell me what you talked about? She hung up right away. I see. Detective is murdered, and the suspect is a top prosecutor and prosecutor in the district. I've got a bad feeling about this. Like, maybe I still don't know everything that went on here. Man, the fact that that's pretty long for just the first day alone! The first day alone was over in almost an hour and 15 minutes almost. How did the investigation go yesterday, Mr. Wright? Frankly, there's still a lot of gray areas. Or rather, the whole thing is one big gray area. Don't worry about me. No matter what the outcome, I'm ready to accept my fate. I believe in you, sis. Mr. Wright, let me offer you a word of advice. Yes? A defense attorney should never believe their client. The defendant is called the trial because they are suspected of wrongdoing. Never forget that. Miss Guy, you remind me a lot of Mia. But there is one decisive difference between you and her. And that is, you're not a defense attorney. I believe it's almost time for the trial. Good luck, Mr. Wright. My first trial was out of Faye helping me. No one's going to bail me out on this one. I'll be alone in there. So I have to discover the truth all by myself. Let's do it, Mr. Wright! I'll be with you the whole way! Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Sky. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution has been ready for a while, Your Honor. Edgeworth. It's been 2 months, but I haven't been in a courtroom since his trial. I hope that personal feelings will not be a part of the proceedings today, Mr. Wright. I will choose the path I think is right, regardless of what those around me might say. Just 1 second. Okay, good. Just checking something. The judgment to be made here is in our hands, not those of anyone else. Very well, Mr. Edgeworth. Your opening statement, please. Chief Prosecutor Lana Sky has committed an unpardonable crime. Not only this, but she was rash enough to commit it in the prosecutor's office lot. Whoa, he's much more forceful in person. I suddenly feel like confessing to everything. However, she will now pay for her rashness with her life. There was a witness to her crime. A professional witness. Well then, call your first witness, Mr. Edgeworth. The prosecution calls its first witness, Miss Angel Star, to the stand. Cough up, Queen. Haven't I seen you somewhere? And you ordered the caviar lunch, right? Oh ho, caviar! I've never eaten caviar before. The judge is really wolfing it down. Ah, and for you, I have a Fiesta Bowl. Thanks. Will the witness state her name and profession? Ah, and you, sir. Did you order the fingerprint lunchbox? It is too early for lunch. Your name and profession, please? Well, Your Honor, how does it taste? So this is why everyone raves about caviar. It's so tasty it hurts! I always thought caviar would taste like pickled tapioca. What the heck does pickled tapioca taste like? Name, profession, now! Me? The name is Angel Star. Don't go forgetting it. I found myself running Lunchland these days. Is that what you wanted me to say, Mr. Edgeworth? Very well, witness. Please describe the incident to us. The prosecution will wait. I'm not finished eating. Hurry it up. Very well, Mr. Edgeworth. As you know, we usually call on the police to provide a description of the crime. Your Honor, as Mr. Edgeworth has said to the court, I am a professional. What exactly does that mean? Until 2 years ago, Miss Angel Star was a special investigator with the police. She was a first-rate homicide detective. What? Miss Star was a detective? I know who you are. Cough up. Cough up, Queen Angel Star, Your Honor. Long time no see. Very well. You may continue with the description, Miss Star. Just who is this lady? If I might have the court's attention over here. The parking lot at the prosecutor's office is divided into 2 blocks. A block is for the prosecutor's office personnel. B block is for visitors and clients. A chain divider separates the 2 blocks. I suppose that's to keep visitors from taking up prosecutor spaces, yes? The crime took place by a car in the back of A block, in the car's trunk. The killer stabbed the victim with this knife and went to drive the body out. Unfortunately for her, there was a witness and an arrest was made on the spot. And who was this valiant witness? Why, it was me, Your Honor. Witness, did you see the very moment of the crime? Of course, Your Honor. Immediately after that, I apprehended the chief prosecutor. It seems rather cut and dry, doesn't it? Well, Mr. Wright? I can't agree on principle, Your Honor. It seems that some poor losers are unwilling to accept the truth, Your Honor. Shall I proceed to crush what little hope they have remaining? If you can, then give them your worst, Miss Star. Wait, are they talking about me? Somehow, I always knew a day like this would come. I was on my way to deliver a lunchbox to my boyfriend when I sensed something. Perhaps it was my finely honed detective intuition at work. And through the wire fence, I saw the chief prosecutor standing next to a garage car. The chief prosecutor was holding a knife in her right hand. Then she thrust the pointy tip of the knife into Detective Goodman's chest. Bringing a lunchbox to your boyfriend? How touching. As you can see, there's no room for doubt. The key point of your testimony seems to be nothing other than the point of the knife which you saw being stabbed into Detective Goodman. So, how does it feel to be so utterly crushed? I'm still thinking about that. It's merely a flesh wound, Mr. Wright. Very well, Mr. Wright. You may cross-examine the witness. How did you know? I respect the prosecutor's basic abhorrence of crime, yet their methods are ugly and twisted. Twisted methods will always lead to tragedy. The lunch lady's uninformed opinion is duly noted. Given that they're used to erasing inconvenient evidence at their whim, killing off a detective that knew too much is merely an extension of that. Miss Starr, do you have something personal against prosecutors? I felt that I found my dream job when I became an investigator. And if I hadn't been laid off by those prosecutors over there, I'd still be one. Laid off? She was fired? To me, prosecutors are nothing more than worms. That said, I am a pro, as you know. My testimony is unbiased and flawless. Very well. You may continue, Miss Starr. This boyfriend, he's a detective? Not that boyfriend, the security guard. That boyfriend? You have several? Yes, this boyfriend, that boyfriend, and the other boyfriend. Care to join? The yet another boyfriend position is still open for applicants. I'll stick with the lunches, thanks. Note to self, the judge had to think before replying. The security guard in the lot room is in the lot in A block. Fine. It's up to the second level, so you can see everything from there. That would be the room with the security sign. Incidentally, did you bring your lunchbox by car? Since I'm a visitor now, I parked in B block. So she was in B block when she witnessed the crime. You sensed something? So you're saying you had a premonition of the murder? It felt like, how would you say? Oh yes, it was like the feeling you get when you view a pumpkin and chock full of seeds. I have no idea what that means. Speaking of a detective's intuition, wasn't the victim Mr. Bruce Goodman also a detective? Yes, well, he was like a young cheese. A young cheese? A pale white cheese, not yet tangy with experience on the street. A greenhorn. Then I must be hard yellowed and sharp as a tack. Yeah, with the odor of an old cheese to match. In any case, in the lot, I felt something stirring in the back of my mind. By garage car, you mean? Mr. Edgeworth's car, yes. But Mr. Edgeworth's is... Incidentally, the knife with which the victim was stabbed was also Mr. Edgeworth's. Wasn't it? Indeed it was. What an odd case this is! And the person you saw, you were sure it was the defendant? I saw her from no further than 30 feet away. I am certain it was her. If she's telling the truth, we're doomed. Let's just do what we can. Even if we don't have any proof, we can always nitpick. Witness, in your testimony, you clearly state the following. Prosecutors are nothing more than worms. Ergo, you are a biased witness. You might want to keep those silly opinions to yourself in the future, Ricky. Huh? Rookie? Unless you're willing to risk the consequences of doubting me. I'll fry you like a fritter. Crispy on the outside, chewy on the inside. That was inspiring. I believe I've heard that tagline elsewhere. You could cry plagiarism. I may be relegated to the lowly post of lunch lady, but my instincts are honed. A photo? You took this? The moment I witnessed the crime, my reflexes took over and snap, I took a picture. In fact, one of my lunchboxes rigged with a camera. I suppose that's more exciting than just hanging it around your neck. Witness, why am I only seeing this photograph just now? You think I'd show it to you, a prosecutor? Think again. My boyfriend works in the photography division of criminal affairs. Well, this is most certainly the defendant. Uh-oh, that's unmistakably Lana Sky. So, what was the defendant doing at the time? Tell me more about this knife that the suspect was carrying. Well, I'd say the blade was about 4 inches long. Is that right, Mr. Edgeworth? It is your knife, after all. Yes, that's about right. Prosecutors are by nature well versed in the location of a man's vital organs. I'm sure it was easier than boiling an egg for my egg salad surprise set. You can't testify as to your ability to kill an egg. I mean a person. Perhaps a chicken salad set would have been a better metaphor. So, the defendant was holding a knife. What then? Tell the court why you didn't try to stop this crime. You did see her raise the knife to strike, no? The defense has a point. Unfortunately, by the time I realized what was going on, it was already too late. Too late? Yes. The next moment, the chief prosecutor brought down the murder weapon. I see. It's only a flesh wound, Mr. Wright. We can make it. You said that before. Anything else? Scientifically speaking, Miss Starr's testimony is flawless. Sounds pretty fatal to me. Well, what do we do? Is this it? Is my sister guilty? Let's just keep our heads cool and press the witness a bit, shall we? For some reason, having her panicking next to me makes me calmer. Don't smile like that! Oh, we already did this. By garage car, you mean? Mr. Edge. Oh yeah, we saw this. And you witnessed this? You saw Miss Sky stab the victim with the knife. As I've already said, yes. I swear it on my finest salmon swirl lunch. But isn't that odd? Look at this photograph. This is the photograph you took at the very moment of the crime, is it not? Then why is Miss Sky not holding a knife? Ahem. Mr. Edgeworth, your thoughts? Objection. That had to be the weakest objection ever, Edgeworth. Yet it was still stronger than your ever-feeble mind, Mr. Wright. What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? This photograph was not taken the moment before the stabbing. This was taken the moment after the stabbing. And how can you tell that? Blood splatter. Huh? See the dark crimson stains on the prosecutor's coat? But it's a black and white photograph. Ah, yes, it's hard to tell, but this could be blood. Well, Mr. Wright, I see no problem here. No problem except you. Mr. Wright, are you going to just sit there and take that kind of abuse? You got a better idea? Wait, that contradicts the witness and what the witness said in her testimony, namely that she took the photo the moment she witnessed the crime. Well, it seems I was slightly unclear. My apologies. That's it? If you run out of lunch, you order seconds. Problem solved. If you don't like it, try ordering the jumbo-sized lunch from the get-go. Good advice. I'm not sure I understand it, but good advice. I didn't have time to stop her. Prosecutor Sky was cold, calculating, like a robot. She killed without pain or remorse. It was a premeditated murder. Premeditated? How do you know? Look at the chief prosecutor's hands in that photograph. Well, are those gloves? Surgical gloves made of thin rubber, most likely. Why would she have those on? If it was not premeditated, she would not be wearing those gloves. Why? These gloves do seem to be a tell a tale of premeditation. Premeditated murder. A serious offense. Witness, add this to your testimony. Witness, do you know what this is? Are you trying to test me? I sell boxes of lunch for a living, you know. That's a knife. The knife. The knife that was in Mr. Edgeworth's trunk. Indeed, it is my knife. What's with this case? The bloody murder weapon, a red car, all belong to the defendant, the chief prosecutor of the district, right? Mommy, are prosecutors bad people? The defense has a request. We ask that the witness provide an accurate testimony. What's that, rookie? In your testimony, you say that last guy planned this murder, and that's why she was wearing those special gloves. Seems like a natural conclusion to me. The gloves do indicate planning. However, why would she not also prepare the most important thing? The murder weapon! This knife just happened to be in the trunk of that car. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to plan a murder, you don't forget the weapon! Order! 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 Great. Now the tide is turning in our favor. Great show, Mr. Wright. My sister's as good as free. Right? I believe the next lunch you'll be eating is humble pie. What? I hope you weren't deluding yourself into thinking that the tide has turned, not over such a trifling detail. But this shoots a hole in the whole premeditated theory. Bah. The prosecution could care less if it was premeditated or not. The only one who seemed to care is that lunch lady over there. The defendant, Lana Sky, murdered a detective with a knife. That is the only thing the prosecution needs to prove. Nothing else. Very good, Mr. Prosecutor. I suppose you think you're clever now. But you know as well as I do that she planned on killing him. It was planned. If it wasn't, why would she have been wearing... I believe I'd like to hear your testimony again. Witness, please tell us only what you saw, not what you thought. How dare you! My powers of deduction are not to be underestimated. Really now? Really now? Lana Sky intended to murder Detective Goodman. That's why she called the victim all the way to the prosecutor's office. I'm sure the chief prosecutor had a grudge against the victim. Nothing else could drive that human machine to plunge the knife in again and again. The victim was summoned from the police department to the prosecutor's office. It does sound a lot like premeditation, doesn't it? So if I ordered a pizza, does that mean I'm planning to kill the delivery boy? In any case, the defense may now cross-examine the witness. You say she stabbed him again and again, but you couldn't have witnessed that! Are you testing me? Then I'll test you. With my Moss surprise. I'm afraid the moss is growing under our feet as we wait, Miss Star. What do you mean? I shouldn't have to explain this, but take a look. The autopsy report states the death was due to a loss of blood from one stab wound. Aha! You're right! Good show, Mr. Edwards. What a hunk! He's my hero, really. What about my objection? No one noticed. Well, witness? You got the crime scene set, right? Oh, thanks. I always believed that no one would ever make mistake ketchup for blood, but now I realize that such mistakes are possible. So, you're saying you mistook something for blood? When she lifted her knife, I saw blood on her breast. Splattered blood from her victim. That's why I thought she must have stabbed him at least twice. Then tell us what you saw that you thought was blood. Testify! The red muffler looked like blood to me. That's how ghastly the whole scene was. Hold on a second. Miss Star, I demand explanation. The witness is clearly not suited for detective work. What? The suspect was not wearing a scarf or muffler of any kind when she stabbed the victim. And you've proved it yourself with this photograph. Huh? But that can't be! Only a professional lunch lady could be so utterly clueless. Congratulations. Perhaps you finally found your true calling in life. Harsh words, but good. In the end, Mr. Edwards prevailed. What was my objection? Chopped liver? But it was there. A scarf. No, not that, but something red. Really? Well now, where were we? The witness has given us an entertaining interlude, but back to business. What? Very well, witness. Continue your testimony. You saw the crime and apprehended the suspect. Tell us about that. Very well. I do remember some things accurately, at least. And ultimately, we couldn't shake the most important part of her testimony. The most important part? The part where your sister stabs the victim. This next testimony might just be the moment of truth. After the murder, the suspect attempted to run behind the partition off to her side. I quickly caught her, explained her rights to her, and arrested her on the spot. Ah yes, when I arrested her, she mentioned the muffler. Oops. My mistake. I hate when that happens. The chief prosecutor may escape, but against Angel Star, resistance is futile. I hate when that happens. You are quite determined about the scarf, aren't you? I strike like a snake and bite like a cobra. That's me, Angel Star. That wasn't a very good metaphor. First of all, a cobra is a kind of snake. Don't bother me with details unless you want to get bitten. No thanks. Note to self, Mr. Wright is weak against poisonous snake bites. The chief prosecutor tried to resist, but her efforts were in vain. She knocked my hands aside, kicked over an oil drum. An oil drum? Hard to imagine. Oh, she's beautiful, but deadly. A predator, this one. A leopard woman. Rawr! Very well, Mr. Wright. Your cross-examination, if you will. You say quickly. Were you close to the suspect? As I just said, I was only 30 feet away from her the whole time. Maybe I should press her for more details. I'd like to see this on the floor plans, just to be safe. The lunch lady was... She was a visitor, thus she was parked in B block. So you witnessed the murder from... here? That would make it about 30 feet from the car, yes? Is that correct, Miss Star? Yes, that's right. But there was a chain link fence in front of you. I went over it, of course. Amazing! Cough-up queen lunch lady athlete, indeed. It would have taken her a little time to climb over the fence, but she couldn't have gotten to my sister that fast. Yeah, that fence was about 9 feet high. So how did Miss Sky not get away? Ah, yes, right. She mentioned the muffler? What exactly did she say? If I remember exactly, I would have told you in my testimony. Cheeky. Anyway, all I heard her say was the word muffler. Just that one word? So, what you heard wasn't the suspect talking to you, but to someone else. Yes, the chief prosecutor was talking to her phone. Her phone? She can't mean... By phone, do you mean this cell phone discovered at the crime scene? And yes, ultimately. Ultimately? My memory. It's like a salmon heading upstream, you see. No, the court doesn't see, Miss Starr. The chief prosecutor first attempted to use the phone hanging on the wall. On the wall? That's right. And near the car, there was an emergency phone on the wall. Apparently, it was out of order, and so she used her cell phone. Indeed, the emergency phone was out of order that day. Good witnessing, witness. Good witnessing? Whatever happened to good testifying? You should, of course, add this to your testimony. The things I do to please this rookie defense attorney. Objection! Miss Starr, I have to conclude that you have a personal grudge against Miss Lana Sky. The witness is a former detective. Her testimony is unmarred by personal bias. Well, who would have thought you would be my knight in shining armor, prosecutor? You who, together with the chief prosecutor, kicked me out 2 years ago. Well, Miss Starr, this is a fatal contradiction with your testimony. How do you explain this? I don't know what you're talking about. Mess with me and I'll make you cough it all up. Ahem. Let's look at the floor plan. You said you witnessed the crime from this point. However, if that's true, you couldn't possibly have seen Miss Sky making the phone call. I believe you see what you see what I'm getting at. That emergency phone was on the backside of this partition. If indeed you were in B block, you couldn't have seen it! What? What? Order! Order! What is the meaning of this? It's simple, Your Honor. She's not coughing up lunch. She's coughing up lies! Gah! Objection. That's quite a claim, Mr. Wright. Perhaps you'll allow me a question? Tell us exactly what lie this witness has told us. Here's where the counterattack begins. I can't afford to be wrong. The witness lie about... Miss Sky tried to use the emergency phone, but it was out of order. What is significant about this fact? Nothing. Therefore, it would be pointless for Miss Starr to lie about it. Pointless to lie? I see. But say the witness did actually see Miss Sky using the emergency phone. It would mean Miss Starr witnessed the crime from a different location. A different location? Now that's a pointless lie if I ever heard one. And before you call my lie pointless, at least let me tell it! Let me ask a question to our clever wordsmith, Mr. Wright. Just where was the witness when she saw the crime? All the testimony we've heard now points in one direction. The place from where Miss Starr witnessed this crime was here. This is the only place where she could have been. The security guard room? Indeed, the security room is in the underground parking lot is well positioned. It's built on the second floor, so you can see the entire lot. She would have been able to see the emergency phone from there. But why there? There are many other places which you have seen the phone. Not in this case, Your Honor. The witness not being in part of the prosecutor and prosecutor's office couldn't park in A block. The only place she could see the crime and the back of the partition is here. I remember in your testimony you said you brought a lunch to your boyfriend in the security guard room, yes? Well, Miss Starr? How many years have I been getting the better of men? To think that the tables could be turned. Today, a man has gotten the better of Angel Star.
Order! Order! Witness! What have you done? You used to be a detective. You should know better.
I'm not turning back. The guilty will be punished, and I'll do what I must to make sure justice prevails. The guilty? She talking about Miss Sky? Mr. Wright, doesn't this strike you as odd? Why did Miss Star lie? It doesn't make sense.
Huh?
She could have just said she saw the crime from the security guard station. It wouldn't change anything.
Exactly.
This photograph tells all. This photograph tells us that it was the defendant who stabbed the victim.
The truth still stands!
It still stands? I disagree, Mr. Edgeworth.
What?
If a witness is found to be lying, they're guilty of perjury. She knows this. She wouldn't risk that without a good reason.
So tell us what her reason was, Mr. Wright.
Huh?
Me? Who else?
Mr. Wright, let's review what we know. Miss Star witnessed the crime from the security guard room. But she lied and said she saw it from B block. It must be a vital difference. But what? What would change?
It changes the distance between her and the scene of the crime!
My condolences, Mr. Wright, but one look at the floor plan is quite clear. The distance between the scene of the crime and the guard station is 30 feet. I don't see how that would change it, and you change what you could see. What she saw is not in question here. What matters is the time it would take her to reach the scene of the crime. Miss Starr, you witnessed the crime from the security guard station. Now, how long did it take you to go from there to the scene of the crime where you arrested Miss Sky?
Well, witness?
You. Yes? You are the squid wheel, right?
All of my lunches has gone from low to inedible.
I was bringing PB&J lunch with fresh boysenberry jam to my boyfriend.
Boysenberry for the boyfriend?
He wasn't in the station, so I waited. I witnessed the crime from the glass wall station. And before I knew what I was doing, I found myself running towards the scene. But the door was locked. I couldn't open it. That's why I had to go through the business parking in B block.
That's quite a detour.
It probably took me at least 5 minutes to get to the scene of the crime.
For 5 minutes? This changes things considerably.
But it was that woman over in the defendant's chair who stabbed him. I know it. I have photographic evidence. I swear it. I swear it on my finest plastic spork.
You have a point, and the spork is a wonderful invention.
Would you like another caviar lunch?
Absolutely.
Uh-oh. Mr. Wright, you have to do something. Do I have evidence to stop this?
Objection!
5 minutes between the witnessing of the murder and the arrest. Think about it. You can make pasta in that amount of time. If you like it in al dente. I've got lunchboxes that tie pasta in the nuts, rookie. A 5-minute blank. Isn't that strange? Strange? If you were a criminal, what would you do with 5 minutes, Your Honor?
Well, I guess I'd flee the scene. Hey! Don't get that the wrong idea. I didn't kill anyone.
But you have the instincts of a killer. You would run, but this time was different. Miss Sky dawdled on the scene of the crime. She even had her picture taken. No true criminal would act this way. It's inconceivable. Yeah.
Well then, it seems we've come to the end of this testimony. The witness has a grudge against the defendant and a blank in her testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, is the next witness ready to go?
Oh, unfortunately, I appear to have overestimated this witness on account of her professional history. We did it! We screwed that shut and that can't shut, Mr. Wright. That was too close.
I'm afraid that the cough-up queen has been dethroned. With that, court is adjourned.
Hold it! Mr. Edgeworth, you ordered the squid Rios, right?
That's the one she tried to foist on me.
I prefer to not take the defense team's leftovers. Anything else to say? I might be able to save you. I have decisive evidence.
What was that?
Is this another one of her trick lunchboxes?
My apologies, but we have no further questions to ask of you, Miss Star.
Ah. Is this your jumbo lunchbox?
Woohoo! A triple-decker! Out of deference to the witness's determination, I'll allow one more testimony. Let's hear about this decisive evidence.
Like that Lunchland motto says, you won't be disappointed.
What's she going to pull out of her lunchbox this time?
I should have mentioned those 5 minutes when I wasn't looking at the crime scene. And now, to the matter of the victim's shoe. Did I not bring this up? 2 types of blood were found on this shoe. One was, of course, the victim's, and the other blood type matched that of the defendant, Miss Lana Sky. This shoe proves it. It's flawless, decisive evidence.
What? There was blood found on that shoe?
Try Lunchland for all your luncheon decisive evidence needs.
Witness, what's the meaning of this? Why is this the first time I've heard of this evidence?
Simple. As I already said, I don't trust you with evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. That's why I took the liberty of investigating this myself.
And you had blood tests performed?
Didn't I mention? I have 3 boyfriends in forensics.
In any case, Your Honor, I can't accept this as evidence.
What?
You must know the 2 rules of evidence law. Rule 1, no evidence shall be known without the approval of the police department. In other words, this shoe is illegal evidence, at least for the time being.
Is that right, Mr. Wright?
It seems so. Edgeworth sure is celebrating.
Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. Don't forget, I used to be a detective. As I mentioned previously, this shoe has already been tested by a member of the forensics department. As you can see, it was approved by the police department as of today. Even the general public can produce official evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. Is that right, Mr. Wright?
It seems so. Edgeworth is looking pretty sullen.
Could at least study some evidence law, really.
The prosecution's complaints were notwithstanding, it appears that this evidence satisfies the first rule of evidence law. However, it seems you have yet another count against you, witness.
Anything to ensure that guilty are properly judged.
Very well, Mr. Wright. You may cross-examine the witness.
Why did you lie about those 5 minutes? I guess you could say I just want people to look at the results.
The results?
How many times do I have to say this? I saw the chief prosecutor stab the victim before my very own eyes. Compared to that, a 5-minute blank means nothing.
Then why didn't you just tell the truth?
Don't make me laugh. We're dealing with the most untrustworthy of the vile lot known as prosecutors. Falsified evidence, arranged testimonies, erasing and manipulating evidence. When you fight monsters, you need to use every trick in the book.
And that's when the suspect is admitting she did it? But false testimony is the most despicable crime of all, Miss Star. Let's just get this over with.
And you found this shoe at the scene of the crime? I detained the chief prosecutor and notified the police department. I wanted to make myself useful when I was waiting for the police to arrive.
So, like an ill-trained pooch, you snuck off with a shoe.
I was afraid someone would erase the chief prosecutor's crime. This shoe was my secret weapon if that should happen. See this fashionable basket I have here? It carries more than lunchboxes, gentlemen.
I'm happy for you and your lunchbox bag. Really. In any case, remove valuable evidence from the scene of the crime. Now tell us what you did next.
So you brought it to the forensic department. Oh. If you're going to submit something as evidence in court, you need it approved. To do that, evidence must be analyzed by a forensics expert.
got away with her little coup because she used to be a detective. The shoe does appear to have bloodstains on it.
Well, the man was stabbed after all.
And that blood belonged to the victim, Detective Goodman?
As I said, there were 2 types of blood found on the shoe.
You can't say for sure that blood belonged to the defendant with a blood test.
You claim to know something about blood tests, rookie?
Huh?
Well, speak up.
Well, blood comes from 4 types, A, B, O, and AB. However, you can't tell from a blood test whether a murder was committed in cold. That's just a figure of speech, Mr. Wright.
Actually, we can differentiate between millions of types of all the blood tests out there, which means that we can more or less narrow down any sample of blood down to just one person. Or so I hear.
That's pretty specific.
If I had a little more time, I would have gotten DNA test results. But they said there was very little doubt it could be anyone but Miss Lana Sky.
The suspect blood was found on the victim's shoe.
That ties her directly to the death of Detective Goodman.
I was afraid he was going to say that. I can't let this evidence go through without a fight.
You ordered the peppered fish guts, right? Some like it hot, Mr. Wright. Some like your client. She's in enough hot water to make a whole vat of soup. Mr. Wright, do you or don't you have a problem with this shoe?
Problem? This is critical.
Is there a problem with this shoe? If I'm not imagining things, I say there is one critical problem with this evidence.
A clear contradiction!
That gleam in your eyes. You're still young, rookie. I'd give you a peppered fish gut now. But you couldn't take the heat, could you?
Let's hear what Mr. Wright has to say. What is this contradictory what is contradictory about the victim's shoe? Show us the problem with this evidence.
I wondered if you noticed. And there's blood on the bottom of the shoe. Don't mess with me, rookie. Or it'll be blood on the bottom of my shoe. Your blood on the bottom of my shoe.
Indeed, there's quite a bit of blood on the bottom of the shoe.
It makes sense. The victim was stabbed with a knife. What could possibly be contradictory about this? The problem lies in the footprint. The footprint? Note, the bottom of the bottom of the victim's shoe is covered in blood. Then, isn't it strange? Why weren't any bloody footprints found on the scene of the crime?
Aha!
As you can see, there were no traces of any such footprints at the scene of the crime. That contradicts your claim about this shoe. This picture only shows part of the floor, so there could have been bloody footprints. Then where are they, Mr. Edwards? Because we checked the scene and found nothing of the sort!
Order! 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 Well, witness?
What? Great going, Mr. Wright, but it's true that the lack of a footprint is a contradiction, but then we have to ask why there wasn't a footprint.
Oh, that's true. There has to be a reason why there wasn't a footprint.
Think, Mr. Wright, think! Hey, I don't know why it's not there. I'm just good at finding contradictions. What? I see. Now I get it. Get what? Our witness is more devious than I gave her credit for. We were hoodwinked to the very end. But she slipped. There is one vital hint of the truth in her testimony.
What are you talking about?
Think back to when she told about apprehending the suspect. The chief prosecutor tried to resist, but her efforts were in vain. She knocked my hand aside, kicked over an oil drum. Oh, she's beautiful, but deadly. A predator, this one. A leopard woman. I thought that was a strange thing for the normally cool-headed chief to do. No kidding. Now, witness, allow me to ask a very simple question.
This oil drum, was it empty? Oh, that. I'm not sure I like your attitude, Mr. Edgeworth. So apparently you're not the slowest conveyor belt in the lunchbox factory.
Witness! Well, was the oil drum empty?
The oil drum kicked over by the chief prosecutor was brimming with water.
What, water?
What does that mean? Still don't get it, Mr. Wright? Do you want to know the reason she knocked it over?
The real reason? Aha! You don't mean...
Yes, the suspect knocked over the oil drum for one reason and one reason alone. To erase the bloodstains that would become evidence against her.
What? That ties things up quite nicely. The bloodstains left on the victim's shoe tie her clearly to this murder. Then after the deed was done, she knocked over the oil drum to erase the telltale signs.
Why, that's a prosecutor's specialty, erasing evidence. That reminds me, Miss Sky's right hand was hurt. Didn't she say she cut herself when she stabbed him? So that's when my sister's blood got on the shoe?
Well, I see no reason to prolong this trial.
But Mr. Wright, do something, please! What can I do? Your sister has confessed to the crime and she tried to conceal it. But...
Enough!
There is no need for further debate. The verdict, Your Honor.
Very well.
But Angel Star's on the prosecution side. She could have been lying about the water.
This court finds the defendant, Miss Lana Sky. Hold it!
I heard it. Little girl, what did you just say? Huh? Me? Did you say that I, Angel Star, was on the prosecution side? Well, yeah, you are. You're saying my sister hid evidence by erasing the bloody footprints. Well, I thought you'd had your fill, but here you are, demanding a second helping. Another lunchbox? A lunchbox called evidence.
Well, wait, witness, don't tell me you had something else.
The time for deliberations is past. Any further comments and you will be held in contempt of court. Your threats don't scare her to cough up, Queen. Look at this. A photograph.
A photograph?
I added just in case anyone had the gall to suggest that the white shoe didn't belong to the victim.
I see no room for error in this evidence.
Mr. Wright, wait! Look at the asphalt on the photo.
Hey, it's clearly wet. Erasing the last trace of doubt from the court's mind. Immediately after the murder, the crime scene was washed with water.
I'm sorry, Mr. Wright. I guess I couldn't help myself after all. Not your fault. I knew I couldn't win this case from the beginning, and it seems this is what your sister wanted anyway. I'm sorry, Mia. Right. Wet or not, don't be so quick to throw in the towel. Get yourself up the asphalt. Take another good look. Don't give up. Not until the bitter end.
Get up, you son of a bitch!
So, this is the last piece of evidence.
Very well. This time I'd like to declare a verdict for good. Objection! Your Honor, wait! What is it with you people? Can't I hand down my verdict in peace anymore? Whatever it is, can it wait?
No, it can't! Then it will be too late! Look at this photograph, the last one submitted. This trial isn't over until we give each piece of evidence proper consideration. So, Wright, are you saying there's a problem with this latest piece of evidence?
Yeah!
I'll think later. Yeah, there's a problem. Right or wrong, I've got to go ahead with this.
I suppose since we've come this far, we should give every claim a fair shake. Very well, Mr. Wright. Show the court the problem in his photograph.
The problem in this photograph is here. Wait, what's this?
There's something poking out of the car's muffler. Wait just a moment, Mr. Edgeworth.
Your Honor?
You just said muffler. However, I see no traces of a muffler or scarf of any kind in this photograph.
A muffler is also part of a car or a motorcycle, Your Honor. Just think of it as part of the exhaust system. A pipe.
I see. And I see.
And what's that suspicious looking claw sticking out of the car's muffler? So what if there's something sticking out of the muffler? What does that have to do with this case? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Sorry, Miss Star, but it's not going to be that easy. In fact, you've already told us why this is important to the case. You said as much in your testimony. What?
Let's hear what Mr. Wright has on his mind. Tell us why you think this piece of cloth in the muffler is related to this case.
Miss Star, recall your testimony for the court. Yes. When I arrested her, she mentioned the muffler. That's what had me confused in my earlier testimony. Muffler.
Yeah.
Could it be that the muffler you heard mentioned was actually this exhaust pipe? If so, that means this piece of cloth is vital evidence. No! Whoa! Ah!
Well, it seems we'll have to suspend the proceedings.
Suspend?
I find myself wondering about that piece of cloth. If we leave any questions unanswered here, we do a disservice to the law. Have the car at the crime scene inspected at once, and bring me that cloth. The verdict will wait until after we've seen all the evidence. Agreed?
I suppose so. Phew, that was close. But we made it, at least for now.
This court will adjourn for a 30-minute recess. It's lunchtime after all.
He's still hungry? Mr. Wright? Huh? What? Are trials always like this with you? Like you're swimming up from the bottom of a lake, about to reach the surface, but no matter how hard you paddle, you never seem to get there? Pretty much. Except today we're swimming in quicksand. So what happened to your sister anyway? Apparently she got called off to the judge's chamber. Probably something to do with the piece of cloth. So, this is where we turn this trial around, right? Our only weapon, a tiny insignificant piece of cloth. I'm the one who's starting to feel tiny and insignificant, to tell the truth. And Ola, partner. And they say you saw a red cloth to a bull. It'll fire up its temper. That's what they told me when I was a youngin', at least. Officer Marshall! Thought I'd come take a look-see at how the trial's going. Looks like I'm late. They've got the home range locked up down tighter than a fort in enemy territory. That hard to slip out, huh? What is going on over there anyway? All the police I've seen these last 2 days have been really on edge. Don't you got enough on your plate without worrying about other people, compadre? You could be worrying about the chief prosecutor's taste in mufflers, for example. Officer Marshall? The whole muffler thing didn't have anything to do with scarves. She wasn't even wearing a scarf. You don't say. Now don't that just beat all? I've seen the red breeze go at her slender neck many a time. I saw it that day too, that she was wearing a red muffler. What? At the award ceremony that afternoon. Edward's seen it too, I reckon. What does that mean? In the photograph taken at the crime scene, she wasn't wearing a scarf. So, Miss Starr wasn't mistaken. Well, it's about time. Remember, partner, sometimes you gotta grab the bull by the horns, and sometimes you just gotta let the bull go where it will. Time will tell. Ugh, I have a bad feeling about this. So, what are we swimming in now, Mr. Wright? If it's steak sauce, I can hook you up with some fine ribs.
Ooh-wee! I'd like to resume.
What's up? The judge keeps looking over at the prosecution.
Is something wrong, Mr. Edgeworth? Your face is blue and your lips are purple. You're sweating bullets.
That proud brow, and that proud brow, those grinding teeth, those watery eyes.
What's more, your eyes are unfocused. You're doubled over. Your back is bent.
It can't be.
This can't happen.
I wonder what happened to Mr. Edgeworth.
Well then, I believe it is time we continued on with this trial. During our recess, I had requested that the prosecution conduct an investigation.
This is unacceptable!
It seems our prosecutor is quite beside himself.
Excuse me,
Excuse me, knock knock!
excuse Ha ha, excuse me, knock knock. What's with this guy? A strange stuffy aura seems to be filling the courtroom. Hey, the temperature rose 5.7 degrees when that man came in. Who on earth is he?
Oh, it's you! That look...
Oh, hey! Sorry I'm late, and Udgi. The road were packed. It's just me. Long time no see, eh, Udgi? How ya been? Swim much these days?
Hello. No, I've been so busy.
Busy, schmizzy, Udgi. My boy, you have to take time to make time to relax.
Yes, indeed.
Udgi seems to be his nickname for the judge. I'm afraid you're right. Very afraid. Sorry, but who are you?
Ha ha! So you're Righto, the attorney. I've heard good things about you, son.
Thanks. So sorry about our little Worthy giving you all that trouble, eh? You know, we should all go swimming together sometime.
Jolly!
Little Worthy?
Mr. Wright, you don't know the district chief of police?
Chief of police?
He's the top-ranking police officer in the entire district. Name's Gant. Damon Gant. Pleased to meet you, everyone. So, to what do we owe this honor today? It's been over 2 years since you last came to this courtroom, hasn't it?
Well, it's Worthy here. Look at the poor fella. I just thought I'd help out. By bringing this. Hey, that's my sister's muffler. So Miss Star wasn't just seeing things. When the crime occurred, Miss Sky really was wearing that muffler. But to think that it was stuffed in an exhaust pipe. Oh, little Worthy's car, no less. It's really quite embarrassing, even for us.
What is this?
It's what you call a switchblade knife. Quite perplexing, this. Chief, what kind of outfit are you running?
Mr. Edgeworth?
How could they miss such a vital piece of evidence? If your investigators are this lax, how do you expect us to do our job?
Now, wait a minute, Worthy.
I've no desire to hear your excuses. I'm telling you to wait. Or didn't you hear me?
Have a look at this document.
Where it says person in charge of investigation. There's no mistaking that signature, is there, Miles Edgeworth? That's not fair. On the day of the crime, I had... your head is in the clouds because you got that award. I know how you feel. But you're the person in charge. I'll expect a written apology.
What? Are you serious?
Are you serious? Don't be too upset. We'll find a way to clean up this mess that you made. This is the first time I've seen Mr. Edgeworth at a loss for words.
This kind of major blunder is unlike you, Mr. Edgeworth. Gah! The court accepts this new evidence. But I'd like to ask the defense a favor first.
Yes?
Just to be sure. I'd like to take a look at the blade of this knife.
The blade, Your Honor? Well, I don't see why not.
Could you open it for me, I wonder?
Yes, well, I think you'll have to push the switch and...
If I cut my finger, Mr. Wright, I wouldn't be able to pound my gavel anymore.
Yeah, but if I cut my finger, I wouldn't be able to point at people anymore. Come on, just hurry up and open it!
Just let me do it! Bah!
Don't scare me like that!
I'm the one who's scared.
Look at that nice blade! The tip is broken off! And this dark red stain. Blood? This does not excuse the action of the police department. I would like to hear an explanation from the chief of police himself.
I'm terribly sorry, but can I ask you to testify for us?
About the split between the prosecutors and the police and this knife?
Sure thing. Not a problem. Not even a little one. Really.
This is the chief of police, Tevye. They just said so.
This knife is special. I can't say how here, unless there's evidence to prove a connection between this knife and Goodman. That was a bad day for the department. We weren't in any shape to do an investigation. A detective was killed at the police department. See? What a mess. The time of the crime? 5:15. Scary coincidence, huh? It's not officially linked to this here case, so I can't talk much about it.
There was a murder at the police department? A detective?
That's the hush-hush information, Udgi. We haven't exactly announced it yet.
Wait a second.
You said 5:15. That's the exact time that Detective Goodman was killed at the prosecutor's office.
Order! Order! Order!
Anyway, we at the department were all flustered, as you might well assume. We're in the middle of a top secret investigation. Don't tell anyone, okay?
I think we understand the police department's situation. Well, Mr. Wright?
The two detectives killed at the same time in two different places. The chances of that are really slim, scientifically speaking, of course. I'd like to exercise my right to cross-examine the witness.
Very well. However, keep your questions focused on the case at hand.
Wait a second! Ha! At last! An honest-to-goodness objection! This knife! This has to have something to do with Detective Goodman.
What do you mean?
Ha ha! And honest-to-goodness, what do you mean from Udgi? This is great! Look at the tag on this knife. It reads SL92.
And this is important. Why?
Over here we have a memo that was on the body of the victim.
What's this? 6 minus SS. 12-2.
Your Honor, it's upside down.
Upside?
And the printed name on the memo makes it look like it's right side up. But turn it around and what do you get?
Aha!
Whoever wrote this note was holding the paper upside down.
SL9. That's the same thing that's written on the knife's tag.
Like,
order! Order! Well, Chief?
Ah, well, I guess the cat's out of the bag. You win, righto. I win? Ah, what game is this guy playing? This knife, On the same day the detective was killed in the prosecutor's parking lot,
Another detective was killed at the police department?
That's the fact! Surprising it, isn't it, Goodgie?
I'm at a loss for words.
And the perpetrator? Do you have a suspect? Well, there was a suspect. Just arrested him, in fact.
Just arrested? That was quick.
But there's still a lot of unanswered questions. Maybe you could help, Righto. I suppose I could help if you help me by giving me data on your case. Oh, good one! This gets sharp! Okay, here's the deal. I'll tell you one thing and one thing only. So, tell me, where was the victim found? Well, I can't speak on where the corpse was found, but I can say the crime took place in the evidence room at the police department.
The evidence room? Well, wait a second. I have heard of that.
The evidence room. Didn't he mention that in his testimony just now?
Knife was evidence. It was stolen from the department's evidence room.
All right, and that's the connection between the two cases. You seem happy, Mr. Wright.
Happy?
We just got handed our ticket to go to town on this case. The link between the two cases established, we finally have some leverage. Now we can get Gant to testify about the details.
Hold it!
Chief, the defense position is simply this. The connection between these two cases has already been proven. You don't say! Well, out with it, Righto. What's your connection?
Yes, out with it, Mr. Wright.
The connection is a place mentioned in the testimony we just heard. The knife found in the lot was stolen from the police department's evidence room. Not to mention the victim had on him the case number on the knife's evidence tag. And we also know that the detective murdered by the police department was killed in that very same evidence room.
Indeed, there do seem to be too many connections for it to be a coincidence.
You make a good pair. It took my men 2 days to find out what you deduced right here. Chief, I request that you release your information on the victim at the police department. See, that's the tricky part. It hasn't been announced yet at all. Can we get the information unofficially? Sure, why not? It's unofficial after all.
What? Really?
Who would have guessed?
I'll cooperate, but I can't reveal the name of the victim at the department, okay?
If you're going to tell us a little, why not tell us everything?
Haha, well, case information is sticky stuff. You have to do everything properly.
Oh well, I guess I might as well try to get what I can out of him. Okay, how about you tell me the victim's ID number?
Sure, why not? It's not like you have a two who tell who it is from that.
Of course not. You won't tell me their name after all.
We keep a tight lid on ID numbers, so don't go getting your hopes up. The number is 584-2189.
Well, that's quite long.
And we have to remember these. It drives me nuts. 82... I can't do it.
You didn't even get the first number right.
Well, Mr. Wright, does this tell you anything?
The ID number of the victim at the police department, 584...
Yeah, this tells me something.
Actually, it does, Your Honor. It does.
I think. Meaning?
It has to be what I think it is. But what does this mean?
Well, let's hear what the defense has to say. You say the ID number of the detective who was murdered at the police department. Tell us you have something. What does it tell you? Take that!
Witness! And witness!
What is it, Mr. Wright? You're grinning like a schoolgirl on prom night.
No, it's just, I got confused.
And this is news?
Huh?
Just come out with both guns blazing, like you always do.
Police department, the prosecutor's office.
two places, two detectives murdered at one time. Actually, I happen to have a police ID number here.
Ooh-hoo! Is it yours?
No, Your Honor, I'm a defense attorney, remember? This is the ID number of our victim, Detective Goodman.
Shame on you, Righto. Personal IDs are top secret.
Detective Goodman's ID number is
584-2189. And this means what exactly? Huh? Wait, that ID number we heard from the chief earlier. That started with 82... I've forgotten. You didn't even get the first number right. Again!
the number the chief gave us was 584-2189. Wait a second, Wright. What does this mean? And mean? That's what I want to know. The two ID numbers are identical. In other words, the detective killed in the police department's evidence room was
Bruce Goodman!
what? And what does our witness think about that?
Ho, 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 ho! Sharp as a tack, Righto! Sharp as a tack!
But wait, Detective Goodman is our victim! He was killed at 5:15 in the underground parking lot!
Yet a detective, Bruce Goodman, was also killed at the police department.
In the evidence room at the exact same time!
That's impossible! So what we're saying is, the same person was killed at the same time?
In a completely different location? Order! 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 Chief, what does this mean?
No! What I want to know is, why didn't I hear about this? Yes, it's top secret. Fine, but I'm the prosecutor in charge of the case.
Now, just wait a second, Worthy. No need to get all flustered.
Your Honor, the police department has made a grave error in this case.
Wait. I said wait. Or didn't you hear me?
The oversight, the grave error, Mr. Edgeworth, they're yours.
What?
How dare? We informed you yesterday. I believe it was our Officer Menkins who brought you the news.
Officer Meekins?
Mr. Wright, where have we heard that name before? Wait, aha!
Excuse me, but is Mr. Edgeworth anywhere on the premises? I'm here, sir, at the request of the chief, sir. I've got your report, sir.
You don't mean him.
According to Minkins, you didn't accept the report. Hard to believe.
But your officer, he told me.
He said the report had nothing to do with the Lana Sky incident.
Detective Bruce Goodman, murdered in the police department evidence room. Mr. Edgeworth, the victim's name is written right on top of the report.
Guys, why didn't your officer tell me?
Honestly, I'm not sure that officer was capable of making the connection. He did seem challenged.
In any case, this is a serious error. Gross negligence of duty on your part, Worthy.
But sir,
you could have submitted that report this morning to the court as evidence. Then
No such luck this time, Worthy. Or should I say, unworthy.
What?
Now, what was the second rule of evidence law?
Well, Mr. Wright, it's Rule 2. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. And how is this rule relevant?
Normally, you submit a list of evidence to be used in court before the trial.
This report wasn't on that list.
So, what does this mean?
I couldn't commit this evidence until a connection was proven in court. The connection was just proven by Mr. Righto over there. Good job, Righto, my boy!
Huh? I was just doing my job. No! No! It seems we have come to the end of this trial.
I know you're going through a tough time, Worthy. What was all those rumors?
You were even in the defendant's chair just this past December. I apologize for this terrible lack of due diligence on my part.
Mr. Edgeworth?
Please, just give me one day. I'll get to the bottom of what happened, if it's the last thing I do. You better get results this time. Really. You have my profound apologies, sir. Or Mr. Edgeworth.
I don't think there's ever been an error this serious in the history of this court. I will grant one further day as the prosecution has requested. Will that be sufficient, Mr. Edgeworth?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Whatever your punishment for this, for your sake, I hope it's not decisive. Very well. Court is adjourned. This is a long one! I'm not even sure I'm gonna get through it all tonight! I mean, I could, but yeah, this whole case is long!
Mr. Wright, so what's going on with the case anyway? I'm a little confused here.
Oh, I probably will, Ingrid.
Huh?
Well, let's see. What is going on?
The victim, Detective Bruce Goodman, was stabbed to death after 5 p.m. on the 21st. He died in the prosecutor's parking lot
And the police department's evidence room.
What's this and the evidence room part? The prosecutor's office and the police department are 30 minutes apart by car.
Well, that's what we're going to find out, and we're going to find out, at least, or try to at least. All right, let's do it. Glad she's in good spirit, but I'm not so sure what, and she's going to be much help with this.
Don't be so sure, Mr. Wright.
Huh?
Look, we're in this together, right? I'll prove that these thick-rimmed glasses of mine aren't just for show. Let's go! Science awaits us! You know, I really don't think we should worry about the police department murder. There wasn't even a body found there. Who cares? Yeah, it was only our victim who was killed in their evidence room.
No biggie.
Besides, my sister would never do such a thing. I know it!
That oil drum, was it empty?
The oil drum, kicked over by the chief prosecutor, was brimming with water. My sister, erasing evidence at the crime scene. Never. Even though she says they don't get along, Emma really likes her sister. That's not it at all. It's just, we're both professionals at what we do, and I trust her. Big words from a high school student. Well, whether there was blood on the floor or not, the water in that oil drum washed it all away. Ignore the strength of my science at your own peril, Mr. Wright.
Huh? What's the grin for?
This situation calls for one thing, and that is luminol testing fluid.
Luminol?
Blood is sticky stuff, you know? You can't just wash it away with a little water. Even if you can't see it, it's still there.
But wouldn't the police have already done those tests?
Never trust anyone's eyes but your own, Mr. Wright. Just give it a try.
Me? Why do I have to do it?
I'm a minor. I can't even drink yet.
We're testing bloodstains with this stuff, not drinking it.
Here, look. I'll lend you these glasses.
Huh? You had an extra pair of those? Whoa!
To test for a blood reaction, just spray the luminol on it. Like this. See?
Alright, let's find us this. Ah! I can see her eyes shining behind those glasses. So is this a blood stain?
It's so,
Emma, you're shaking.
It's just, this is my first time seeing real blood.
Scientific investigation in action.
Okay, well, we definitely know that this is a blood stain. But doesn't something strike you as odd? Scientifically speaking, of course.
What's that about this? Scientifically.
The perpetrator and Detective Goodman fought here, right? Don't you think there'd be a little more blood? I definitely think so. I mean,
Look at all the blood on the sole of the victim's shoe. It is pretty strange. If they fought here, there'd have been more blood than this. Hey, Mr. Wright, I'm gonna mark up the floor prints where we found the blood stain, okay? See? I'm pretty handy to have around, right? Yeah, and this stuff, pretty handy too. I saved up my allowance to buy that. We can't be sure that the police will reveal all their evidence in court. Sometimes they fail to mention evidence that doesn't fit with their view on the case. Then let's drag that hidden evidence out into the light of day. Yeah! Feels like we're really investigating a crime now, doesn't it? Guess I should give this a spray on anything suspicious. Huh. I wonder how that fluid of yours would react to a nice deli box. Mister, you only trust your own eyes, Not bad, you two. This day-old deli box is on the house. Sorry, it's just that kind of lead-in doesn't really get my mouth watering.
Yeah, this is gonna take me a couple of days, I think, to get through at this rate.
Well, I wanted to ask first before I pause. What do you guys think of this case so far, and how it's
Clearly different from the other
main cases? Clearly, this is written well after the fact, but they don't have the luxury of, again, the certain object we have in games 2 and 3. But what do you think about this? How this is a really lengthy one. So do I know what you guys think? You certainly put me in a tight spot today. My apologies, Miss Star, but no, it's okay. It was my fault. Oh, we know. I witnessed everything from that security room right here. But I was afraid that wouldn't sound convincing enough, you see? I was wrong to think that. I'm sorry. Sorry? You lied on the witness stand. That's unforgivable. Little girl, don't forget what's important here. Even if the place I witnessed the evidence from was different, I still saw what I saw. I saw Chief Prosecutor Sky stab a man in cold blood, and that testimony still stands. Ah! I swear it on my honor as a detective. She stabbed Goodman. I know this photograph has something important to tell us. But what? So you were a detective, weren't you, Miss Star? Yes, it was a long time ago. Well, 2 years ago. No matter how hardened the criminal, when they faced me, they coughed it up. Coughed it up. It up? They confessed. They babble like babies. You know. I may seem like a demon sometimes, but I could be an angel too. I wouldn't doubt it. Every day I drag the dirt out of the mouth of suspect after suspect. And before long they called me the cough-up queen. Oh, and here I thought someone had gotten food poisoning from your lunches. And you were let go? Fired? I felt I found my dream job when I became an investigator. And if these prim and proper prosecutors hadn't let me go, I'd still be one today. It's all because of that case, the SL9 incident. SL9? Wait, she doesn't mean... You think about it, I could have taken the photo from the guard room, but even I get flustered sometimes. So you went straight to the scene of the crime. I rushed towards the chain link fence in an effort to stop the murderer. That's when I took this photo, yes? In other words, 5 minutes after the crime. Those 5 minutes are the whole problem. The whole of my testimony, as it were. The 5 minutes weren't the problem, Miss Starr. You're lying was the problem. Listen, little girl, I had my testimony disregarded before, and I wasn't going to have it disregarded again. Just like that time. That time? What do you think about this? The SL9 incident. It's written on that knife. And on that note. Goodman. Goodman was the head detective on that case, you know? Really? And that knife was evidence from that case. The murder weapon. It was due for transferal the very day that Goodman was killed. As I suspected, SL9 isn't over. Not yet. Do you think you could tell us more about the SL9 incident? The incident really opened up my eyes to the truth. We're nothing to them. Disposable. Disposable to who? 2 years ago, it was the biggest case I'd ever handled. The police and the prosecutors were desperate for decisive evidence. So they didn't solve it? On the contrary, it was solved quite cleanly. The criminal was caught and executed.
Executed?
Yes, the criminal got what was coming to him. It doesn't get any cleaner than that. The only problem was, they never did find decisive evidence.
Not a shred. What? But the criminal was executed, right?
On the basis of evidence of a sort. Made up evidence.
What? You mean they executed someone with fabricated evidence?
The best part comes out. Every detective involved with the case was dealt with. Some were demoted to patrolmen, others found themselves out of a job. And you were one of those? Myself and one other person you know well.
Wait, could it be...
Exactly. Detective Jake Marshall. Oops, I mean Police Department Security Detail Officer Jake Marshall. As professional detectives, we investigated that case from every angle. Jake was particularly determined, and then it was over, and he was demoted. However, he wasn't forgotten, and neither have I. You haven't forgotten SL9. There was another side into that case, a hidden side. That's what we're after now. And no one up in their fancy offices can stop us. Wait, those lunches you sell. And there is only one reason I come to sell lunches in this accursed office. I come here to meet old friends, boyfriends that can help me investigate. And Star's old boyfriend. How many does she have anyway? Just when all the detectives on SL9 have disappeared, we find new evidence. There has to be a connection. So, Ricky.
What?
It seems like you're serious about investigating this case.
Yes.
Then you should take this.
A Salisbury steak lunch?
I know a certain guy who might help you if you tempt him with this treat. Miss Starr? Officer Marshall, is he your, are you his? Are you going out? Why do you want to know? I was just wondering what happened to him. A long time ago, when he was helping my sister do cases, he was so nice. He got along so well with my sister, it made me jealous. And he was nice to me too back then. This would be when Officer Marshall was a detective. But now he's so cold. Jake and I are merely cooperating on this investigation. We're Officer Jake Marshall. So yeah, I like the characters introduced. I like Angel. I like Marshall. I like the police chief. Mika's a little annoying. I like Emma. I even like her sister. they brought in some really, I have to say, this has to be some of the most memorable characters on one case. Would any of you guys agree with that? Huh? Would any of you agree with that? That notion that these are just some of the better, like the more standout characters. I mean, we've had some before that are interesting, but up until this point, this is some of the most standout. Like, they give you so much about these characters. You really get to know about their history. It doesn't clash with the first three cases at all. It's like they cram enough for all three of the other cases of, the Miss Arc into one case here, and we're dealing with all of it. But yeah, I'm gonna call it a night for today, and then I'll be doing more tomorrow. But until then, thank you guys for showing up. And
Who knows how long it's gonna take us to get through this case?
but until then, I'll be seeing you guys on the next one. Take care.